Yes. Welcome to FootyWit Podcast, the EPL game review. Game week 20, actually. We're reviewing game week 20 today. And it's good to be back here with you guys to talk about football. We love talking about football. And we're here to analyze and also dissect some of the games that went down on game week 20 in the EPL. My name is Ehis Anthony, and I'm not here alone. I'm here with the regular guys, Chimamaka and Okwe. What's up? How are you?
Hello, guys. It's good to be back, man. Your laughter is from the deepest part of my heart, man. I miss everybody. It's good to have you guys around, man. Let's go.
Wow. Chimamaka is actually busting my head currently. So wait, just because Chelsea secured a victory for the first time in a long time, he's just excited. You know what? It's fine. Enjoy the victory while it lasts. You got.
We don't understand.
He should enjoy it because I can understand. I've been there before, with Arsenal. When we lost how many games and now we started winning again. It's good to have that feel of winning. And it was an impressive game though from Chelsea. But before we go into the games, I hope you guys are staying safe because the coronavirus out there, it's not playing at all, man. This second wave is really crazy. I hope you guys are staying safe because I had my tests last week and I got my result negative. I'm clean. I thank God for good health. But we're not in the same location. We're virtual. We're doing this virtually, which is a good thing. But I hope you guys are staying safe out there because we have to go to work. We have to do what we're meant to do. We have to, go out and hustle for our daily living, daily bread, and that'll put food on the table of our families. And there are a whole lot of things to talk about this COVID, the way the government is handling the whole thing, but that's aside. But we just have to take precaution. We have to take care of ourselves because right now, Oyo is our case, man. Chimamaka.
So, you just need to do your best to stay safe. Just maintain proper hygiene. Wash your hands frequently.
Yeah.
Always have your hand sanitizer with you. Always have your face mask with you. You know what? Cover your nose, please, guys. Cover. I see a lot of people with face masks and their nose is just out there. I mean, the essential purpose is to cover your nose. So and take hot baths as well. And don't forget the secret remedy, right? As well, it's not so much of a secret, garlic, gin. So, just take that concoction for now. Enjoy it. Enjoy the process.
Jeez.
Yes. There's so much to talk about the COVID, but we are grateful for life. Actually, very important.
Yeah.
As my guys, as you all have said, it's best for everybody to stay safe. Whichever means possible, try as much as possible to stay safe and do whatever your doctor or your physician has told you to do. The most important thing is staying safe and staying alive.
Yeah.
So please, let's do that.
Because I know everybody has his own story, one way or the other. We know people that are close to us, friends, families that has been affected. There's this narrative out there saying COVID is not real, but the truth is, I know people that have been infected, and luckily for them, they've been able to, bounce back, turn out negative again. But it's crazy. I was hearing a story this evening on my way back home. The guy who called into a radio show and he was explaining how COVID really attacked him. He's a normal exercise junkie guy. All of a sudden his blood pressure went up, always getting close to having a stroke, the next thing chest pain here and there. He did a CT scan, did so many things, not until they now discovered that it was COVID. But 2 weeks prior to all that time, they didn't know that it was COVID because he was thinking maybe it's this, is that. And it's just a sorry case. But the moral of the story is just for us to do the needful, take good care of ourselves, boost our immune system, wear your nose mask, and also social distancing is key. Even when you go to a party, ensure the social distancing is there. But that's by the way, because that is what is hitting us right now, and we can see it's also affecting the football world because today is the last day of the transfer window, and unlike the usual buzz, deadline transfer, different news here and there. But most of the deals we're hearing is loan deal, this one loan, that one loan, because it's really affected the financial capability of these teams to buy teams or to buy players in this transfer window. Most of the deals we're just hearing is loan deal, except for Liverpool, because they needed that central defender. I think they've woken up to that reality that they need a backup, because it's been crazy this past few weeks for them. And they signed a guy from Preston, Ben Davies, a like name with Ben Davies of Tottenham. When I heard the news, I was thinking it was Ben Davies of Tottenham. Not until I heard it was the guy from Preston. And also they took another guy on loan from Schalke 04. Ablak was his name. But it's good for Liverpool. By the way, they won 3-1 at West Ham.
Yeah, come on.
Impressive game. Let's start with that. Liverpool, West Ham. Okay, you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, the game between West Ham and Liverpool was extremely exciting. Liverpool showed their quality, and then they showed why they are the reigning and defending Premier League champions. They just used class and quality, and they simply grinded out that victory. Going over to the Olympic Stadium, that it's not going to be an easy task at all.
Yeah.
And that West Ham finally got into the groove in terms of their starting 11. Talking about the likes of Sufal, Ogbonna, Aaron Cresswell, and then you've got Declan Rice, Thomas Tuchel, and then the front, Antonio, Said Benrahma, and Pablo Fornals. He rejuvenated Pablo Fornals, but then yesterday it was Gerard Bowen that started ahead of Manuel Lanzini. But nevertheless, West Ham were in good contention to actually win that game or maybe take a point out of it. But look, Liverpool simply outclassed them. And let's just talk about Mo Salah. You just can't do but not talk about him.
Yeah.
The quality of this is simply sublime. And then he shows once again why he is a world-class player. One of the few wingers who have scored 20 plus goals per season. I think he's about to overtake Ryan Giggs' record as most goals scored as a winger. And his impact on the team was simply fantastic. But then I have to give those to the whole team, and then to the youngster who deputized at centre back. Talking about Matt Phillips.
Matt Phillips, yeah, he was impressive. Yeah,
Matt Phillips, yeah, was really impressive. Put in a good shift. He's not the quickest on his feet, so he makes up a lot for it. He watches a lot, And the partnership in general was good. So it was a great win for Liverpool. Vital win for Liverpool.
Yeah, and that win takes them to third position behind Manchester United, just a point behind Manchester United, and 4 points adrift Man City, even though with a game in hand. But Chimamaka, I want to ask, we saw how Liverpool have fared for the past, let's say, 6-10 games. They've used, ever since Van Dijk went on that injury, they've had 12 different pairings of central defenders, and I don't know why it had to take them onto the final day. It was eminent. It was so glaring for everybody to see. Football lovers that we that we love football, we know that was the place that Liverpool were lacking. And during the summer transfer window, they did not bring in any central defenders. And why did they have to wait up until today that they had to bring in 2 new central defenders, one on loan and one for £2 million or thereabout? And also with this performance in the last 2 games, with a point behind Man City, does that bring Liverpool back into the title race, contending or being a title contender?
That victory they had over the weekend was an awesome one, and it's good that they had that victory, because as you asked, it's actually bringing them back into title contenders. Now I'll go back to the question you asked concerning their defenders. I don't know why it took them this long, because they had to wait a whole 31 days to bring in 2 central defenders, when we all know and we all have seen that is the most needed of the squad that needs to be built.
Yeah,
we've seen they've had multiple injuries on that position. Even those who are coming to come and fit in for them in that position, we are still going back out on injuries. So for them to have waited this long, I want to believe it's not it might have come from the owners, it might have come from the fact that they don't want to bring out money. And even if they intend bringing out money, they are looking at a certain amount of money they will spend for this break. Let's not forget that, so much activities compared to last season where Man U brought in Bruno Fernandes and some other top players. But this one has been hampered by the impact of COVID-19. We know that most clubs have had losses in their finances.
Finances,
everybody's cutting costs one way or the other. So I believe for them to have taken them this long to bring in these two players, it's a step in the right direction for the fact they have these two players. So they are sitting on third position. We don't know what the next game will bring about. But I'm happy to see a Liverpool team play this beautiful football against an informed West Ham United. So I enjoyed the beauty of the game. It only told us that Liverpool are not pushovers. That's why the fact they didn't score a Premier League goal in 2021 up until their last Premier League match. That is the match prior to this one. So it's a good one to see them actually doing what they did last two seasons, and we enjoyed everything. It's a good one. It's a good one for them.
Well, I think it's the Liverpool way of signing players. They are not the type that go for the big name players, except for Van Dijk that they signed for £80 million. If my stats serves me right, most of the players they go for are players in that ilk of average, and they tend to build. They have this plan of tending to build players up. Like, look at the amount they bought Sané for. Look at the amount they bought Salah for. Firmino and the likes. Gomez, Arnold, Robertson. It's the style. So I wasn't surprised when they didn't bring out the money, coupled to the fact that COVID pandemic has affected each of the club's financial capability to spend in the transfer window. But let's see, because I think with this, they're playing Manchester City next. 1 point to drip Manchester City. Even with Manchester City having a game at hand, they might want to go for it. It's like, we can go for it, and let's go. So going to Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel, as Chimamaka pronounced in the last podcast, I think I got it right, got his first win 2-0 against Burnley. Was it a hard-fought victory? Okay.
Yeah, look, for Chelsea, it definitely was a hard-fought victory. It wasn't easy. Sean Dyche has a good record at Stamford Bridge. In recent times, I think since 2015, he's had a good record at Stamford Bridge. And look, Thomas Tuchel's team, as Chimamaka would say, they were well set up again. Like, I saw the shape of the team similar to what I saw in his first game against Wolverhampton Wanderers. And then I saw some certain senior players, they were still in the team. I think the only major change was in the front three, and then you could see a chance for Mason Mount and Timo Werner as well. And Christian Pulisic, who did start the game. So,
and also Alonso.
The type of football that
Alonso.
Alonso. I was getting that as well. Because Alonso, that's someone who has been isolated from the squad. He was isolated by Frank Lampard. But then apart from that, even under Mauricio Sarri, he didn't have the best of time. We saw that Alonso is not a good defender in a back four. And he's not the best defensively. Sometimes loses concentration. Sometimes does not give you 110%. But with the type of football that Thomas Tuchel wants to play, you could see that allows him to play very high up the pitch. And I love what Thomas Tuchel is doing. He's a new manager coming into the club. It's a clean slate for every single player. That is evident at Chelsea Football Club. So look, every player at Chelsea has a chance to stake their claim in that team.
Yeah.
And then you did see Kai Havertz come on much later on, and then you saw the type of impact he was able to make. So slowly Kai Havertz is getting his way back into that Chelsea squad, which is very important for him and important for Chelsea as well. So it was a hard-fought victory, well-deserved, very good goals, and a brilliant goal by Cesar Azpilicueta, making that run from his own house, outstanding things. And I must say, Marcos Alonso, chest, knee, volley, simply sublime.
The striker's poacher's goal. I think the old faces are the one welcoming Thomas Tuchel to Stamford Bridge with the goal scored. The old guys, Marco Alonso and also Aspi, scoring both goals. Chimamaka.
Yeah, and then There was one thing
Yeah.
I also noticed, after the game, you could see certain social media posts from some of these old boys in the team.
Yeah.
A lot of them were giving praise to Thomas Tuchel, and I'm just wondering, is that a dig at Frank Lampard?
Crazy, isn't it? But Chimamaka,
I'll answer that.
yeah. I wanted to say it seems the strikers are not standing up for Tuchel. The defenders are the ones scoring the goals. What's up?
We won't just say it's the strikers are not standing up for Tuchel. It's just that we had the defenders score the goals, and you can rule that out. Even after the match, his press conference after the game, Thomas Tuchel opened his mouth to say he's happy that even his defenders are scoring goals. It doesn't mean that his strikers will score goals.
Yeah, I was just trying to like pull your legs,
with the game, I was happy to see what we played. I've in my own opinion, I've seen an improvement from what we were playing 1 month, 2 months back. Why am I saying this? It only tells us that Thomas Tuchel's first 2 games, he has converted, or he's playing Callum Hudson-Odoi as a wing back. Let's understand what that means.
Yeah.
It means he does both defending and attacking, and he's dangerous. The job mostly is to stay up. I don't know if you understand. When there's pressure behind, he falls back. This is Hudson-Odoi. Now, we also saw an Alonso who is a better player going forward than a player defending. We all know that. So I'm happy that he's bringing out these guys and he's discovering their best positions and he's making good use of them. Now, there's some other players who are still going to stick their name. I will talk about Mason Mount. He came in and started that game, and we saw the beauty of the attack.
Yeah.
Compared to what we played against Wolverhampton Wanderers, we saw a better bite going forward. We were taking shots. We were making attempts compared to the Wolves games. It only means he's discovering these players and their strengths, which I'm very, very happy with. And I want to believe that if with time the team will gel and we would start running riots in the EPL. As Tuchel said,
hey, take it easy, man. Take it easy. You said this during Lampard. You said this when Lampard was running riots, winning games. Now Thomas Tuchel, take it easy. Take it easy, Chimamaka.
I will still say what I have to say. Thomas Tuchel said he wants to make Chelsea a team that are unbeatable, which I understand. First, I wouldn't want to talk so much on Tuchel, but I realize that he's saying the right things. My problem with saying the right things is bringing out the right results on the pitch. He can say the right things and decide not to deliver, but he's been saying the right things since he came into the club, and he's psyching everybody up. We are all happy with everything that's coming out of his mouth, but hopefully, I believe this will eventually turn to positive results at the end of the day.
I feel the guy is just using Arteta's handbook, because the things he say. Yes, I know he's boisterous. He has this oratory power. He says things the way he sees it, but it's kind of like using a Arteta 1.0 handbook. But that's just by the way. I don't know if that's funny, because that didn't really go down well. But for me, looking at Chelsea, it's. But the thing is, I don't see an identity yet. To be fair on the manager, it's just 2 games, so you can't really judge. But I hope to see an identity with Chelsea in terms of their style of play, in terms of what they bring onto the pitch of play, and how they want to play. And also there was some moments in that game. If Burnley were clinical, they should have scored in the first half. But I think credit needs to be given to Tuchel. 3 points, and he moves to the next game. And I don't know who is Chelsea playing next?
Tottenham Hotspur.
Whoa. Yeah, that's a game to watch. Now, talking about Tottenham, they went to the Amex Stadium, Brighton, Hove and Albion. They played 225 days without a win at the Amex. And yesterday was a good game to see, a good game to behold. They played Tottenham Hotspur hands down from the start of the game. I'm saying this because I'm an Arsenal fan, and it was interesting to watch because it just shows how clueless Jose was yesterday. No Kane, no Partey. From the beginning of the season, it's been Kane to Son, Son to Kane. The ball goes at the back of the net. But yesterday, there was no plan B. He brought on Bale. Bale couldn't deliver. Okwe, is this the end of the beginning, or the beginning of the end, rather, for Jose in his coaching career? Despite, I don't say I'm too hard on him, but despite looking at what we saw yesterday, imagine if there were Tottenham fans in that stadium yesterday. Just imagine. Because Tottenham, they're not playing like a team that have identity. It's just one-way traffic. And also, the baggage Jose Mourinho brings into the team. We saw what happened in the last match. Oriol walked out of the pitch, walked out of the stadium when it was subbed in the first half, and we didn't see him yesterday. Sissoko had to play right full back in that yesterday's game. What's your analysis about Tottenham's performance yesterday against Brighton over Albion?
Well, first of all, I think I'll start from your last point, which is the fact that Jose Mourinho can be questioned in terms of man management. We know the way he has had issues with players in the past, and how he's a disciplinarian, and how he likes to discipline certain players.
Yeah.
Now, definitely he was at fault for one of the goals that was conceded in their last game, and probably didn't take the way he was singled out by Mourinho in a very good manner. But then I do believe that as a player, irrespective of what is said to you in a game like that, I mean, in that type of match, your teammates need you more than ever. Madoherty is, with all due respect to him, I don't even think he's as good as Sergio Aurier. Sergio Aurier gives you everything you need in a right back in terms of attacking, defending, deliveries. Sergio Aurier gives you goals as well. So, and I believe Madoherty is better playing at the top half, or rather the other half of where the opponent is, and not.
I think Doherty is injured. He's injured. Yeah,
exactly. Currently, he's injured, but then he did come in the last game just before Brighton. So, taking a look at the performance as a whole, I remember the last time we met physically. You and Dick really questioned and grooved me when I said that. I feel like Spurs can do without Son and Kane. And then, Deeper asks the question, Bergwijn, Vinicius, and then I just felt like performances in the Europa League, I felt like, if you give them a good run of games, maybe they will perform. And then, sincerely speaking, if you take a look at Carlos Vinicius' performance, it was decent. I mean, he's 19 years old, had 2 shot targets. He was a target man. It was difficult for him to obviously play against the likes of Lewis Dunk, Webster, Ben White. I mean, those guys are 6'2", 6'3". It would be difficult for any striker in the world to play against 3 top-notch defenders like that. But then again, look, kudos to Brighton. They kept this type of diamond formation while Spurs had the ball, and you have Ehis Bissouma at the arc of it, and then you've got Pascal Grove just right in front of him. You've got Neil Maupay there as well. They've got a really tight-knit shape, and it's going well for them. Brighton is a tight-knit team, and truth be told, throughout the season, Graham Potter's men have been playing good football.
It could have been more than one yesterday. It could have been more than one. They lost chances.
Exactly. I remember the game against Manchester United earlier in the season at the Amex Stadium, and United were so lucky to have come away with the win because Brighton had a lot of chances that hit the bar. So what? It's been a topsy-turvy season for Brighton, but well-deserved victory against Spurs. Mourinho, I'm not going to question Jose Mourinho's status as being the special one or being a world-class manager. He is who he is, and currently he's having a tough time. And sadly, the players who played yesterday were probably not able to turn up as well. Joe Rodon was not probably the best. Gareth Bale as well was not able to make much of an impact. Steven Bergwijn did his best, but you know what? I think this is a period in time whereby Mourinho now needs to know that he needs to make every player feel important. Because if the team as a whole feels like, that's not a football team. You need to make every player feel comfortable and let them know that, you are important, and whenever you step onto the pitch and you represent Spurs, you must play brilliant football. So that's what Mourinho needs to do. He needs to work on the psyche of the players.
Chimamaka, do you see Tottenham? Do you think they have an identity on the field of play? Apart from the link-up play between Kane and Son, and the ball gets the back of the net, the kind of counter play, that defensive setup, and it counters with Kane and Son. But now Kane is no more in that mix. Is Chimamaka there? Yeah, because I know your video mode went off, but you're still part of the podcast, so we can still go on with you talking at the background. Do you see Tottenham having an identity in the style of play? You mentioned identity with Thomas Tuchel. You can see what he's trying to do, but with Mourinho, do you see Jose Mourinho? Do you see anything like such with the Tottenham, comparing with his the person who took over, the manager he took over, Pochettino?
Yeah, I wouldn't like to compare managers first, because
come on, you have to compare, man. Come on, you just have to. You just have to.
I know
you just have to, because Mourinho was critical when he was doing his punditry, or when he was a pundit on Sky Sports and all those stations, so that he's been invited. You see the way he criticized Tottenham. There was a time he even had a dig at Arsenal, saying he could take over Arsenal's job. What is Emery doing? What is Pochettino doing? They have the squad. They have what it takes. Now he's in there, and we can see. I can't see any identity. But let me just give you the chance to talk.
Well, I like I was about saying, I don't like comparing managers, because both managers are top-notch managers, and they have their philosophies at which they bring into any team they coach. We have seen Mourinho. You can't just erase his track records. You can see he's not a good manager. Now he's having it difficult at Tottenham doesn't mean that he's a bad manager. Now the question.
Nobody said he's a bad manager.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to answer your question. Now come back to the question you asked. Talking about an identity on the pitch.
Yeah.
You're talking about without Kane, with Kane. His identity on the pitch, coaching Tottenham Hotspur, has to include both Son and Kane, because it has been a winning formula for him. For the fact that he has lost this player, or he has lost one of the two of the best players in the team, now gives him room to make do with the options that he has. Presently, it's not working for him. Doesn't mean that it wouldn't key. Like according to what I was saying, we saw Vinicius yesterday. He had a decent game. It didn't just come out as it was supposed to be. Now, let's also not forget that Mourinho has found it difficult in the Amex Stadium on 3 attempts. So that place is a doomsday for him. You can't rule out that part of it.
He lost at home. He lost at home to Liverpool.
3 games.
He lost at home to Liverpool in his last game.
I'm not talking about the Amex Stadium. He has lost 3 games there. He has not won a match there. So it only tells you that going over there is not easy for him. He went there, and this guy scored. At what minute did they score? And they kept their 1-0 lead up to the end of the game. First of all, we are talking about Mourinho. I'll take you back to Brighton. Those guys had a very decent team, very composed defense.
They've not won in 225 days at the Amex.
All they needed to do was frustrate the efforts of the Tottenham's attack, and that's what they did. They have towering defenders who will give any striker a headache any time of the day, and we saw all that happen. Now we are talking about Mourinho, Tottenham, Brighton, this, that. It's a tough time for him. He's having it difficult now. Eventually, it will key in.
Well,
Arteta had it. Lampard had it. Many people had it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had it. Who again had it? In fact, Pep Guardiola also had it.
These guys that you're calling, their team.
Yeah.
When you put them on the pitch of play, on the field of play, they have an identity. They have a plan A. They have a plan B. They even have a plan C. Day before yesterday, Arsenal, Manchester United. Arsenal were without their 3 major key players. Did they still not play the way they want to play? Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp has lost how many? 5 to 6 of his key players. You can still see him with an identity, with the style of play that he wants. Even the Tottenham supporters, they don't understand Mourinho's formation. They don't. I was watching Sky Sport today, following the transfer news, the deadline transfer, and they interviewed a DJ. He's a popular DJ in London. He's a Tottenham fan, and he was critical of Mourinho. Now, I asked the question, imagine if the fans were in the stadium. Do you think there'll be a lot of boos Do you think they'll be able to take this that Mourinho's doing? I think he's having a field day because the fans are not in the stadium. They are not going to take this from him.
He's having a bad time now. You're talking about just one of Tottenham fans that you watched. I hope you are very familiar with Arsenal TV, because every now and then you see what comes up there.
Yeah.
Because they will tell you Arteta needs to be sacked. Today he's playing good. They are happy.
Well,
that's how it is. It's normal. You cannot please every fan. That's the truth.
True though.
He's having a bad day. At the office doesn't mean that tomorrow he will have a better day. Now, you're talking about an identity. He has been winning with the same identity. The same Mourinho has played more games than most of the top teams in the EPL this season. He has played more games and he has come out of it successful. Because he's having a bad time doesn't rule all that out. No. I'll be very, very frank with you.
Well, I think I've always been saying this, that we should have an episode dedicated to Mourinho and Tottenham. Ever since he took over Tottenham, because of time, because we don't really.
I think it's long overdue. We probably just need to dissect Spurs and Mourinho's era. Yeah.
We really need to. You're talking about another coach, Rodgers. We saw how he got pumped by Leeds United, Bielsa, just had to settle the score with him because in the first leg, Leicester City won at Leeds, and Bielsa had to come with his men to do the same thing. Now, this is another issue. Another problem Rodgers is facing: life without Vardy. It seems difficult for him to set out a team if Vardy is not on the pitch, because it's still that same Route 1 style, regimented style. Look for Vardy. Now, I want you guys to touch on this. Do you think, because Vardy is getting old, Max can play 2 more years, should Rodgers be preparing for life after Vardy?
Yeah, certainly. I think he should be preparing for life without Jamie Vardy. But it's not just Jamie Vardy missing that is a problem for them. Wilfred Ndidi not being in the team is also a problem for them. True. Nils Mendy is not someone who can effectively protect the back four. And then, Hamza Chowdhury lacks that upper body strength. I'm sure that's the major reason why Hamza Chowdhury was rumored to probably moving to Newcastle. So a lot of things wrong for Brendan Rodgers. Also, the constant tweaking of the team, from the 3 at the back to a 4-3-3 as well, is a problem. The return of Ricardo Pereira has now been a problem because James Justin had been in great vein of form. So now selection also was a problem for Brendan Rodgers. So finding a way to blend both players in the team was a genuine issue for him. However, in terms of the strike force, I think he has been able to create fluidity in his attack. So you could see Harvey Barnes and James Maddison comfortably interchanging positions, and you know that Ayoze Perez is someone who can also play from the wing, so there was no particular target man, so that made it difficult for Leeds at a point in time. But the good thing for Marcelo Bielsa is that his midfield took total and absolute control of that game. The likes of Jack Harrison, Alioski, and Patrick Bamford. I think Patrick Bamford is like a dream for anyone who plays FPL, because Patrick Bamford turns up when you need him. And I must say that his goal was simply outstanding. Every member of that Leeds United team, they put in 110% on the pitch whenever they are on the pitch, and it was a brilliant win for them. So kudos to Marcelo Bielsa and the team. A big important victory for them over a rival.
Chimamaka, what does Iheanacho need? Okay, before you add to that, I just want to ask you this: what does Iheanacho need to get into that first 11 of Leicester City? Vardy not being there, why? He needs to be there. What does he need to do? Because
he needs to keep banging in goals. That's all he needs to do.
But he's not given the opportunity, man.
That's the thing. So he needs to take his opportunity. That's how it's supposed to be. Now I'll come back to that game. You talked about Jamie Vardy's absence in the game. Prior to this game against Leeds United, Leicester City comfortably won their game. And they had Wilfred Ndidi at the center of midfield, and we saw the balance in that team. I never expected that they would actually lose this game against Leeds United, but it only tells you that yes, not just body. They need a balance in the center of midfield. If you give the likes of Harvey Barnes, James Maddison, Jose Perez, and the rest of them to keep dancing up front, then who protects the back four or the back three? I don't know if you understand. Now, that has been a major problem for Leicester City this season, and that is this absence. If you check the matches they've lost, you realize that most of their errors or their mistakes we are caused by either the defensive midfielder or something that went wrong. So that's how it has been. With them, everybody has to manage their problem. Klopp is managing his. Mourinho has to manage his. Arteta managed his. It's becoming an headache for him. Now, back to what I said. Pereira is back in the squad. We had Justin there, who was there before. Brendan Rodgers. This is a good sign. He can manage a big squad. He was given the opportunity at Liverpool and he flopped. Now, Leicester is growing to becoming an elite team in England as it stands.
I think they've broken into the top 6.
Exactly. So if they have vast amount of players like the likes of Manchester City, Chelsea, and the likes, Brendan Rodgers should find it in the team to bring about a balance. He shouldn't talk of having an headache of bringing in this player, bringing in that player. Lampard's undoing was actually because he had big players in the squad. So much players in the squad that he couldn't manage it. So for a top manager, you should manage your big squad. Every top manager loves a big squad because it makes them have several options. For Leicester City and Brendan Rodgers, they should bring about all those options and work with it.
Yes, it's been nice doing this. Because of time, we just need to round off. Sorry we couldn't touch on the Arsenal-Manchester United. It ended 0-0, but there were some talking points in that game as well, but because of time, we just have to run along. So, looking at the fixtures for game week 22, starting tomorrow, this is look at the top game. Wolverhampton Wanderers plays Arsenal, Manchester United versus Southampton, and also on Wednesday, Fulham host Leicester City, Burnley host Manchester City, and also Leeds United versus Everton, Aston Villa versus West Ham United. That's a game to watch. Is that a derby? Aston Villa, West Ham United. No, it's not a derby. Liverpool.
No.
It's not a derby.
Usually Aston Villa.
Aston Villa, Sunderland, right? Yeah. And also Liverpool. Yeah. Liverpool hosts Brighton, Hove Albion, and also the game to watch on Thursday, Tottenham Hotspur, Chelsea. I hope we'll be here on Friday, because these games are coming in thick and fast. I don't know if we'll be available to review, to do a review on these games, because the game week 23 comes Saturday, Sunday again. But nevertheless, we'll look for a way to come and give our own analysis and talk about football like we normally do. My name is Ehis Anthony on FootyWit podcast. Thank you, Okwe, for being around, and also thank you, Chimamaka, for ghosting out and also leaving us with your voice. But it's good to have your voice on the podcast. So please,
you're welcome.
Yeah, so please follow us on our social media platform. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and also we're on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, and also you can listen to this podcast on Anchor, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. It's been nice doing this with you guys. Thank you very much, and we'll be back.